Oh. Good evening, viewers. And welcome to another edition of the Mike Murphy Conspiracy Theory Hour, which none of those statements are true, except for the fact that my name is Michael Murphy, and perhaps because there are no conspiracies, there are no theories here, that's for sure. Not hypotheses, not inferences. It's wild speculation based on observation and suspicion, conjecture, and it's not really an hour long. So I'll be joined by Info Warrior, 1776. Shortly here as a co-host. As he joins this broadcast, I figured if I waited until one of these things would be perfect, it never happened. So everybody's got to start somewhere. I just hope you can understand what I'm saying at this speed.
Hello.
Welcome.
I'm trying to join on my computer.
Oh, we are live now. It seems it would appear so. Broadcasting live.
Cool.
Today is wow, with video. And so I did not set a maximum. Control room. I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Eject any. Oh, interesting. Wonderful. Well, so I don't have the best background right now. We have 0 viewers, which is fine. But
we're on YouTube?
Should be. I can check on another computer here. It's not the best angle, which I do apologize for. Using this PC.
Did you know that you can also set it so it posts it to Twitter automatically?
Well, I shared it to Twitter automatically, yes.
That's cool.
This is quite antiquated. Well, not really. I just can't stand the interface. I can't stand interfacing with I'm of the opinion that the interface of Microsoft Windows PCs is just clunky and cluttered. It's not even too busy. It's just not user friendly, or at least not to this user. Looking at what I look at and seeing what I see here, let us begin with truth. What is truth? And I think it's pretty straightforward. The truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. A commitment to that. Breathing life into every situation and speaking truth to power. Chris, what does it mean to speak truth to power?
What?
Or did you catch? Or can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
So what I had thought was, wouldn't it make more sense to speak power to truth, or do they mean speak truth to the power, like the power that's up there? This the power that's the power. There's a line from a movie called All the King's Men, which I don't even know if it ever made it to theaters, but starring Sean Penn. And he's running for office in Louisiana. In maybe it's the segregationist South, the civil rights, whatever. And he says, well, one of his co-stars, which might be Tom Sizemore or someone else, but someone that looks like him, and what are you going to do about the power? And it's just a cheesy line, because when you think about it, he says, they ain't the power. The power is in the hands of the powerless. and those hands have given it to me, which makes no sense because number one, if they're the power is in the hands of the powerless, and those hands have given it to me, meaning he has no power.
Do you want me to give you the definition of speaking truth to power?
Yeah.
All right, so this is the Urban Dictionary. So the first part it says it speak truth to power, a phrase coined by the Quakers during the mid-1950s. It was a call for the United States to stand firm against fascism and other forms of totalitarianism. It is a phrase that seems to unnerve political right with reason. The founders of the United States risked their lives in order to speak truth to power, that of King George. It was and is considered courageous, although is more commonly scorned today. And the second definition of speak truth to power, this phrase originated with the Quakers in a 1955 pamphlet, Speak Truth to Power, a Quaker search for an alternative to violence, promoting pacifism in the belief that love can overcome hatred. It has become to mean speaking out to those in authority, and is now used in politics and human rights activism. That's pretty good.
Yeah. So, speaking to the power, that's I'm really not going to filter my speech with the Socratic triple filter. Is it true? Is it good? And is it relevant? I'm just going to say I'm going to make a commitment to improve upon the silence. As David Icke would say, silence is where unlimited potential lies. I mean, that's, in other words, silence, he said, is what is, what was, and whatever will be. If you think about before the Big Bang or creation, or before God spoke, basically, even in a band room as a musician, that's a sound you rarely hear in a middle school, high school music room, is silence. Silence is the canvas upon which we paint music. What I'm getting back to truth here is that if I improve upon the silence with what I say, then I'll say something. I'll remain quiet. I'll remain silent. I have the right to remain silent when it won't improve upon the silence. That's not even make it better. I mean, that's make it better, not make it worse or even match the silence. But will I improve upon it? Perhaps with this microphone, I will. My only, I mean, just as a goal, as a general, I strive to, speak encouragement. It is freeing to be able to tell the truth, to say things that are true and honest, and to be honest. Honesty there's an FBI agent who did or a former FBI agent who wrote a book about deceptive behaviors and how to tell if someone is trying to deceive you. It's not like a lie detector test, but he learned how to interrogate, I'm sure, people. And so he interviewed the parents of baby Lisa Irwin, my child who went missing here in this area, and has never been found yet. And if the parents had something to do with it, he didn't detect any deceptive behaviors. In other words, like body language or even the way they phrase things. I know for one that if you want to say that you did not do something that you're accused of, you don't say I did not do it. You say I didn't do it.
Yeah.
It's just apparently it's a sign of, and left right brain. If I know in The Negotiator, Samuel Jackson, left and right. If you look to the right, which I am doing, my right, it's supposed to be accessing the part for memory, or maybe left is. I'm not sure, because if the left side of your brain controls the right side of your body, not so sure if he's talking about his right or my right. But if your eyes dart to the right, then you're accessing the centers for creativity versus memory. So if you're making a lie up from scratch, you're accessing creativity versus memory. And if it was in your memory, then you wouldn't have to make stuff up. So you'd be telling the truth. But I've doubted both ways, so I have no idea. So I've said before in the past, which if it was before, it would have to be in the past. I've said that I'm not out to debunk anything or anyone. I mean, we're pretty much like everybody else, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So it's not even it's nothing personal. I can leave my emotion, my religion, I can leave my God out of all of it. I think I'm of the opinion that if people can't handle the truth, it's because they've been lied to for too darn long. And secondly, it's just that, I don't think sometimes people, think about when you got in trouble as a kid, has the excuse, well, everybody else was doing it. Has that ever worked? And that yet it works with our elected officials. They can say, well, you're mudslinging too. So does that mean what you did was okay or not? This happened under this administration or the previous or the prior. And then thirdly, regarding just telling the truth, I'd say that if I ever lied, it was usually not to protect someone from the truth. It was to protect myself from what they would do to me when they found out what the truth really was. It's a little operation they call CYA, cover your ass. So this is a family show, I understand, but I was referring to the donkey.
Yes.
Yes. The noble, rusty, trusty, obedient, cantankerous ass. So the description reads, what is truth? So I think it's okay to be skeptical of things. Healthy skepticism.
Yeah.
I'm going to do my darndest not to damage my credibility. So hey, how about with this? We can take an intermission and see if this actually worked.
Yeah.
Or perhaps.
Is that what
oh yeah, that's right. And see how fast this actually streamed, and see if I'm.
It usually streams well.
Do what?
It streams well.
The stream is what?
It usually streams very well.
Raw?
Very well.
Oh, pardon. See, So I want to see. I'm interested to see how this microphone performs, if it even is working. And I'm going to put it on mute to make sure.
It doesn't work.
Because I put. Could you hear me when I did that?
No, I couldn't hear you. You muted it.
Oh, when the light turned red. So I know this is the one I'm using. Awesome. Excelente. Yeah. Maybe I should turn to the left if that's where memory is. So if I turn to the left, then it's accessing the right part of my head. Or if I turn my eye to the left, is it accessing the left? My left. I mean, the brain is a brain. I guess it's a quantum computer. I mean, which really means, those electronic impulses are apparently, from what I understand, from what I've heard on YouTube videos and in chemistry class in junior year, and my brother who's done his homework in physical or organic chemistry. The basics are a quantum, and you have these orbitals, and it's still, I mean, it's a graphical representation. It's a two-dimensional graphic representing a three-dimensional object. So it's never quite the same as holding it and touching it. Even if you were to build a scale model of an atom, if I believe that the center of, if the nucleus were the tip of a ballpoint pen, the electrons would be, and that if the center of an atom, if the nucleus was the core of the Earth, it's at the center of the Earth, the electrons would be out to the surface like that. So apparently, 99%, 90% or 99% of an atom is empty space, and if it's an electron cloud, more or less. But we do know that they're in, because they're moving so fast. However, they're in these orbitals, and again, it's a two-dimensional representation of a three-dimensional concept. So it's never even done justice in a book. But I mean, you learn this rote memorization and your ABCs and your 1, 2, 3s, your reading, writing, and your arithmetic, and then you can move on to the more advanced things. So quantum is just when they say quantum leap, I mean, it just means an electron shell or level. And if there's also quantum refers to the things that are infinitely small. Mathematically, I mean, you use an exponent, a negative exponent, to describe these numbers that are so small. An exponential curve that will approach a line but never touch it, get closer and closer and closer for infinity, and never touch a line on a graph. I mean, it's pre-algebra stuff. And not to demean anyone, I guess what I'm getting at here with the electron of the atom, I believe, was that your quantum computer in your brain, the quantum entanglement, which I don't know what that means. I don't know what it means, but the best I can tell, it means that the electron is in two places at once, which means that it's somewhere else, like in another dimension. So you can pull on the unused. So if you use a computer that's a quantum computer, once we get there, instead of conventional computing, they will be capable of many, many, many times over of computations as our conventional computers are. So I'll Google that, because I haven't. I mean, that shows how much I've done about it. I'm just speaking right out of my ass, and I'm not referring to the donkey this time. So we have one viewer. Welcome to the broadcast. This is CNM, the Mike Murphy Conspiracy Show Hour, the Mike Murphy Conspiracy Theory Hour, which is no conspiracies here. My name is actually Michael. I prefer Michael. And there's no theories, strictly conjecture, suspicion, wild speculation, observation, inference, barely a hypothesis, not even a theory, not even close. I mean, that's what we do. There's the schemata, your schema, your construct. I mean, if sociology professors, I mean, this is not my words. I'm trying to come up with original thought, but I mean, I'll quote Michael Savage, the host. He says, these sociology, I'm going to do my best, Michael Savage here. It would be great if these sociology professors would, if they didn't just keep going to school to become a sociology professor, if they actually applied what they learned in sociology class instead of just, I mean, someone's going to college, spending 4 years in college, 10 years in college to become a sociology professor, studying sociology so you can just become another sociology professor. It's kind of, kind of like music in a way. I mean, figuratively speaking, it's incestuous. I mean, it's a swamp. I mean, well, not a swamp. I won't use that metaphor, but I mean, it's just, you know, music is a small world, and I mean, so it's like becoming. Why do I want to become a music teacher just to make more music teachers? I don't really want to do that. Um, you know, so yeah, psychologists, they're going to school. History teachers, yeah, I mean that's a historian. Speaking of history, I mean that's the truth, and this is speaking from experiential. The history teachers that I found most uh, worthy. I mean, just more tantalizing, more intriguing. The mystique of the history we don't know, or the little known history, the facts that are misconstrued, misconceptions, and even then, um, myths. Um, and then when you talk to people, like I rarely do, uh, no, when you talk to people, it's amazing what you find out. Okay, so I said to you, did I say a revolutionary soldier would never have been told to do not fire until you see the whites of their eyes? Well, no one would have said that. I mean, no one in their right mind would have said not to fire at the British until you see the whites of their eyes. You'd be dead by then. However, he would have said notch the V, or what was it you said? They would have said something even different, because the British uniforms formed an X, and you wanted to
Yeah,
have
they had an X on them, so
so
so what
so
they would
notch.
say is to shoot at the middle of the X, pretty much.
Let me turn up my volumes. Shoot what? Shoot what? And what?
Shoot where the X, where all the lines intersect in the middle of the X, pretty much.
Yeah, it was a V. Well, V and an upside down V.
Yep.
I guess so. Notch the V. And for instance, Paul Revere wouldn't have said the British are coming because they were British at the time. I mean, he wouldn't have said that. He just wouldn't have said that, and it boggles the mind. I'm bewildered at how our Civil War. I mean, in one of the newest countries in the world, it was only 100 years old,
Less than 100, less than 100.
and
Because
then
1876 would be
and
100.
100 years later, we don't even know what the war was about. We can't even agree on what it was about. Like, whoa, was it
Well,
about slavery? Was
the
very
victors
complicated
always
explanation. Yes.
the victors always get to spoil. So mostly the spoil. So mostly, like all the history textbooks and all that crap will say it was fought over slavery and blah 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 blah. I can't buy that, because the president of the United States, Abraham Lincoln, said that he didn't really care about slavery at all. He didn't want to change it. He didn't want to do anything towards it. He signed the Emancipation, or something about, I don't know. It's 1 a.m. I'm tired, so if I get this wrong, something about the Emancipation Proclamation. I think that yeah, it went out under him. I don't know if he signed it or whatever, but that really freed no slaves whatsoever. It didn't happen until one of the amendments made slavery illegal.
Hmm.
Yeah,
I do
and
happen to have some of my textbooks down
yeah,
the large bag. The ones I wasn't able to resell because they were too old.
yes,
History textbooks. How do they come out with new stuff? And sometimes the next version is almost a virtual carbon copy of the last. So they
yeah.
can't tell me, oh well, we found different methods to teach it. No, I think you've made up new facts.
So as a
Discovered new, hopefully made new discoveries. I'm sorry, pardon me. But you can blame Houghton Mifflin, Pearson. You can blame
yeah,
these textbook manufacturers for that, because it is an industry. Free market capitalism, folks. It's a tough system. It's a good system, but it's a tough system.
yeah.
Um, so they're they're driven. Their motivation
So, like you were saying, we
is
still
profit.
can't agree on what caused that war. I mean, I just am baffled by the fact that anyone would say it was over slavery when both presidents of both countries said it had absolutely nothing to do with slavery whatsoever. Like, Jefferson Davis said that they were fighting because they wanted the right to self-government. Abraham Lincoln, the Union was fighting to keep the Union together, and pretty much to just keep the Union together. It had nothing to do with slavery. They didn't care about slaves.
Yeah, when it was brother fighting against brother, figuratively and literally. I mean, I've gotten arguments with my brother before, heated arguments about life or death. I mean, situations like, infanticide, um, promiscuity, abortive procedures. I mean, and that has got to be even more dire. But I mean, whatever it is, I mean, I believe it was punishment. It could have been. And I'm of the opinion that it could have very well been God's punishment for the institution of slavery. However,
maybe
we still can't agree. I mean, but to leave my God out of this, as I said, I can leave my. Why doesn't anybody? Why is there so much discord? We need to take a Robert E. Lee statue down because we don't remember what the Civil War was about. Like, I know people who have met the widows of Civil War veterans.
Yep.
So there are people alive right now who were alive at the same time as widows of Civil War veterans. Okay. He shook the hand of.
The thing about taking down
I didn't make this up.
The thing about taking down a statue, that's just in the name of political correctness, and it's not even okay to take down statues like that.
It wasn't a big deal whenever it was erected, and so if anything, it would have been a bigger deal then. It's just, either it's obviously a polarizing issue to take our minds off. Well, not even to take our minds off, to deflect and distract.
To distract us from the stuff they're doing anyway.
It's even more dire, and I feel silly falling into that trap. So, what I'd like to delve in this conspiracy theory hour is, which is,
but people want as far as to compare the Confederates to Hitler. I mean, there's no comparison there.
I get fired up about. Well, no one ever. I find good ways to put this.
I'm glad the Union won because our country stayed together. And before the Civil War, people referred to the United States when they were talking about it as the United States are. And after the Civil War, it changed to the United States is. Did you know that?
I didn't catch all of that. I may have to turn up my volumes. I know what I can do. Just so I can hear you a bit better. But
can you hear me?
Pretty soon I will be.
Okay.
I probably shouldn't have to power this on if I do this. The way they designed this silly little adapter.
All right.
Well, to plug this in. This is just like no sense. Oh, here we go.
All right, can you hear me?
Headphone headset. Say something.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Okay, I can't hear you. Oh, I guess they were on. Oh, here we go.
Okay. Hello? So you can hear me now?
Oh, maybe I need to turn this up.
Okay.
No, say again?
So, like I was saying.
I think I heard you.
Yeah. So, before the Civil War started, people referred to the United States.
You could download all the drivers to your Heartscape. Yeah. Okay, I think it is actually. Oh, this came with a better cord for that actually.
Yeah.
Better auxiliary cord. Which I know where to find it. Un momento.
All right, so it's currently 2:08 in the morning Eastern Time. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Subscribe to Microsoft 2004. He's a good guy. And also subscribe to subscribe to subscribe to Info Warrior 1776.
That's why.
Info
This
Warrior with one R 1776.
All right, talk to me.
I'm talking.
All right, Chris.
All right, can you hear me a lot nice and clear?
Yeah, you're coming through my earphones now.
Okay. Like I was saying earlier, before the Civil War happened, people referred to the United States as the United States are, and after the Civil War, people refer to it as the United States is. Were you aware of that?
Oh, that's some perspective.
Yes. It kind of unified us in a way, in a sense. I'm glad the Union stayed together. Kind of. I'm, I'm glad it stayed together because it kept our country together. But that war, it was a bogus war. It shouldn't have happened. It really shouldn't have happened. There could have been better ways to go around it.
Universal cosmic truth. Um, so uh, I'm going to reference Star Trek, which is fiction, a work of science fiction.
Yeah.
In the movie Star Trek 7, Star Trek Generations, the villain is facing off with Captain Jean-Luc Picard. And one of Patrick Stewart's lines is, "You don't have to do this, Soren. It's our mortality that defines us. It's one of the truths of our existence." And he says, and the villain says, "What if I told you I found a new truth?" And Picard is referring to a temporal ribbon. It's a conflux of temporal energy that Malcolm McDowell's character refers to as the Nexus. And Picard asks, "Is that what you're talking about? Time has no meaning there. Predator has no teeth." So I mean, truth is going to be the same. I mean, there's this illustration meme, and I guess I could pull it up. I guess if I knew how to use a computer with the darn. Most of the time, I'm a parrot, but I'm trying to remember, not make up, and not. I'm pulling from long-term memories, like they're one-liners. I mean, that's all. That's the best I can say. But they're pretty good ones. Little nuggets. Oh, cool. That would work like as a little. If I have guests, if I ever have any. When it comes to conspiratorial theories or hypotheses, you can never go wrong with like one universal truth is something I haven't been able to figure about life, that is. I mean, something else had to die for you to live. Okay, that's kind of universal. For anything to live, something else had to die, whether it's a plant,
True,
an animal. I'm pretty sure we don't eat non-living things, or things that weren't alive ever. Even Soylent, even the Soylent product contains wheat and soy. I mean, they're fortified with vitamins and minerals, yes, and everything else is made out of atoms. So when a science textbook tries to define life, or in a biology, they don't really define it. I mean, but they state it as fact. I mean, really, the only couple laws I know of are the law of gravity, law of thermodynamics. These are laws that have not been proven. I mean, because even a law can be defied. I mean, and so I mean, that's what a true scientist wants is, please, somebody find me wrong. I don't want to be right. It's not about me being right. Um, However, the 7 criterion for life, it's organized. It responds to stimulus. It consumes. It produces waste. It reproduces. Well, I mean, I'm no more alive than a lawnmower. And it's funny that we, human beings, decided to make sure we fit those seven criteria. It's kind of biased, and I don't, so I didn't make that up, but I'm just looking back on my education here, going on 2 decades or 2 or 3 decades now, and just saying that I didn't make this up. I mean, and as they were saying, Crotochrome, Paul Simon, as I look back at all the crap I learned in high school, it's a wonder I can think it all. And yeah, it is. It is actually. It's a wonder. I mean, the school was created to. I mean, we live by the bell, so we make good workers when we get in there. My nephew, who's barely a decade old, okay, can put 2 and 2 together and get 4 pretty quickly, and says, well, back then you had kids because they needed work to do on the farm, and now what's the point? Like you said, what do kids? And I think that another universal thing I found is when another group is oppressed by another, it's really the more privileged taking advantage of the less fortunate. I mean, what else does it boil down to? I mean, slavery or human trafficking, or even this economic inequality, or inequity. I mean, but I do believe in charity. I mean, it's not charity if you're compelled to do so, and that's
like
the gift of
taxes.
Yeah, the power to tax is the power to steal.
Yep.
And the power to destroy.
Absolutely.
And when tyranny becomes law, it's your duty to become an outlaw. So now I'm going to put stuff out there that I can't even independently verify. I can't even say I agree with any of this stuff. But whether it sounds irresponsible to say this, but then again, if you think, I mean, and by the way, we do we have our phone lines open? Let's see here. Yeah, just go ahead and give us a call at area code 816. I have a new number here. It is. I'd like you to call. Well, oh wait. Oops. Yeah. 816 490 6785. For any guests who'd like to call in, let's see if that works. Well, you've reached us at the situation, not the situation report, but the Mike Murphy Conspiracy Hour with Chris and Mike, CNM. Chris and Mike. This is the control room at Hangouts on Air. Coming to you from Kansas City at 116 post meridian or anti meridian. I never say that usually. 116 anti meridian Central Daylight Time.
It is 2:17 Eastern Time here.
Yeah, and it's July 20th, 2017.
July 21st, 2007. No, July
20th. Yeah, and it's a Thursday.
So 12 o'clock. I'm living in the past. This proves how tired I am.
Well, we could do worse than that. So we've been going for now.
Yeah.
How long does it say this is going? Well, it'll be archived, and so I'm sure the audience. So whenever you watch this,
Definitely.
whenever you watch this, if someone is watching this, which there will be, hopefully, it's pitch black. Just really as a test, doing this for a multitude of reasons. One is the least of which is
plus we got no script. We're pretty much going off of our minds.
Teleprompter free. Teleprompter free. It's just two guys. I'm testing out a microphone to see how close I should sit to it. And this way I'll be able to see how close I was sitting. Number 3, just to try this Hangouts on air. This is the first time I've broadcast hardwired from a PC. I mean, I've changed a lot of things. I updated a driver, an audio tech, a real audio driver. No one is paying me anything to say that. I know I should know. Maybe no. But okay, so it looks like I can turn your video mute. Okay, good. Okay. Yeah, it looks like we've got a strong signal here, and
it looks really good on YouTube. Video. Like it looks like it looks like a TV show. It's awesome.
Oh, really? Well.
Yeah.
Wow. Quite nice. Not a universal truth, but something I would say, and I need to just to gauge my speech, my cadence, which is wow. It's one of those things where excuse my language. There's a saying, "Never shit a shitter," and I'm sure there's someone out there who can see right through me. I mean, I'm literally this is real. I mean, this is unscripted, teleprompter free. 1 a.m. Okay, where no one is watching, 0 viewers live here on Hangouts on air.
That's a new record. Sarcasm.
So I've got no limit on my bandwidth, so that's good. I mean, without giving any personal identifying See, I tend to drop syllables when I'm a little tired. It's like it's worse than being intoxicated, because they say drowsy drivers drive worse than drunk drivers. So if I start not making sense and being incoherent, that's why.
I'm well beyond that.
But I'm doing my best to stay energized and keep it high energy, up tempo. I'll do some jumping jacks or something. But this, I'm getting. That's like drunk history, or like what's it called? Mega. What is it called? The kitchen, the gargantuan kitchen. What is it called? Glutton kitchen. What is it called?
I have no idea.
They make the baconator. They garnish a turkey with baconators. They make the turducken. It's called. Well, anyways, they do. It's another YouTube channel and the turducken, which is a duck wrapped inside of a chicken, wrapped up inside of a turkey.
That sounds really good.
I could never get on board with that, because when they say turducken, like all I could hear was the word turd. You know, a turtle. I mean, or a turkey, a duck, and a chicken. Turducken.
Yeah, and sounds good.
I bet it is. I don't think I'll ever have one, but just because all I get from it, turducken. And same with a lot of things. I mean, if you really think about it, which I'm thankful, I've been afforded a brain and time with which, when a brain, number one, and the ability to think with it, and third, the time with which to think in.
Everyone gets a brain. It's a gift that we have to utilize very wisely.
Was it the Tin Man that didn't have a brain, or was it the lion?
The Tin Man. think it was a Tin Man.
How does that song go? I just saw this. Um, um,
I still,
if I only had a brain. That's it.
yeah, I still don't understand how the Tin Man could talk, walk, function if he doesn't have a brain. It's not the rest of his body have to do it.
It's not a matter of being able to handle the truth, but some I would agree. I mean, well, why do we tell kids that Santa does exist? Why do we tell kids an Easter Bunny exists? Is it because we're deliberately lying, or is it because they just? I mean, it's not like they wouldn't be ready.
I don't.
Are we not ready for truth, like a truth bomb, as they
Well,
say?
I don't think we do it to deliberately lie to them. I think we do it to just make them have a good time.
Have a chance to be kids.
Yeah,
Some um, uh, and
and that's something that you really can't take away from them.
purposefully withholding the truth um, is considered perjury. I think. No, is it? Or it's just technically it is the perpetuating perpetuating a lie
Yeah,
unknowingly. I mean, it's just I think the stories that really bug me, especially when I've flown. I flew a couple times in the last couple weeks, and the thing about it is, I'm wondering if it's simply cosmic radiation that you'll get higher doses of. But I'm wondering if that's why there are UFO sightings, and maybe it's just a flare going across your eye. Like astronauts report seeing shooting stars in their sleep because they're seeing solar radiation that's making
yeah.
its way into the space shuttle or the space station. So I wouldn't doubt it.
The thing about sightings like that, there's been a lot of sightings for the past 70, 80 years, which is, and there's been a lot of cover-ups in that. There's just been a whole lot. I think there's this Mexican town that where something crashed there and they buried the body somewhere by a church, and someone wanted to dig it up, and before they had to do that, it was gone. They took it and went away with it.
Hmm.
And in 1947 in New Mexico, when that one crashed, like there is a whole lot of military action around that. They literally told people to shut their mouths or they'd end up in the middle of the desert somewhere. I mean, so that proves how serious this stuff can be. And then in the 1950s, there was a whole bunch of them that showed up on the White House, like flew over the White House.
Oh, so no laughing matter.
Yeah, it's not really a laughing matter. It could be, but here's something that it could be. It could be new technology being tested out by our government, but it's debatable.
I think another universal truth is you can't peacefully coexist with people who want to kill you.
Yes, I mean,
Um,
yeah, unless you want to
I, I
die
can
by that.
coexist. I can coexist. It won't be peaceful, but
Yeah, I mean, you can't really coexist with someone that's going to kill you because you'll be dead.
uh, oh yeah, that's all we are masses of cells, right? I mean,
Yep,
yeah.
masses of cells aren't considered life to some people, which is insane.
Well,
Because if we found masses of cells on another planet that were like, we found a bunch of cells in another planet that were living, people would go nuts over that and say we discovered alien life.
well, let me tell you this. This is going to sound nuts. However, um, what David Icke said, whether we know it's true or not, you got to put it out there. Because uh, I mean, how else is anybody going to know about it? I mean, it's out there. I mean, I didn't make this up. David Icke didn't make this up. You know, but if I say the R word, reptilian, um, red lights, amber, lights, red alert, yellow,
Yeah.
um, all I have to say is I just say that to certain people, and oh yeah, the Mandela effect, yeah, the fact that you misremember something like C-3PO having a yellow. I have never thought. I've never seen Star Wars. I've never seen, but I think my sister saw a movie called Foul Play, and she thought that in a scene, Goldie Hawn. It could be deleted scenes. They cut things out. They have the theatrical version. They have um, the straight to DVD release, and I remember scenes from Star Trek Six that appeared on TV, but not. I feel like in the Blu-ray. There's deleted scenes that you can that I've found on LimeWire or Kazaa or Napster. Some of those um, file sharing platforms that I don't use anymore. But like in the '90s or early 2000s, there was a deleted scene up on there from Generations. I mean, and it's not in the Blu-ray set, even in the deleted scenes on the box set special features. But it was a scene where Kirk is doing a space jump, and it was the opening sequence. It was rough, but originally it was supposed to be set against the champagne bottle of Dom Perignon. So that's not a Mandela effect thing. It's just they just decided not to include it in the Blu-ray special features, or maybe in a later edition.
What would the Mandela effect be? Exactly?
So you've never heard of it, right? So what I'm saying is, you say this reptile thing, they're going to look at you literally like you are insane. Okay, but this Mandela effect is apparently a large number of people. I mean, in the millions, thought Nelson Mandela was already dead when the news actually came out and said, he's died. Like they misremembered when the guy died. Like, oh, he was still alive, and then they found something like a detail from Star Wars. He doesn't say Luke, I am your father. He says Luke, or I'm. He said, people misremember it, but that can be explained away. It's because I noticed it's mostly with movies. People say C-3PO had a one silver leg, like a lower calf, and they said, I thought he was all gold. Well, there were 3 different movies, and mind you, there are 3 or 4 or 5 different versions. There's the original 72 or 70s theatrical release. Then there was the re-release in the 90s, the remaster. Then there's the VHS. There's the Blu-ray. I mean, you've got 4 versions floating around there. So really, I like paper. I prefer now, after having used both Paper Bible and a YouVersion app, I still prefer the Paper Bible. It's tactile. Something about
you know how many
physical touch.
You know how many times the Bible has been translated and rewritten?
True. Perhaps even among
The first time it came out was the Gutenberg Bible, and that was in the 1430s.
Mm-hmm.
1438.
Johann Gutenberg. Gutenberg.
Yep.
Gutenberg.
And that was a very good thing, because before that, most people weren't even able to read the Bible on their own, because most people, it was controlled by the Catholic Church. And then once people got a hold of that, and then Martin Luther did his thing, posted up 95 Theses and his complaints against the Catholic Church and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That sparked the Protestant Reformation.
And when I'm looking up here, I'm gazing at just a map of the world. I want to show this.
All right.
I wish this laptop had a rear-facing camera. How do I do this? With that, I have a mirror, don't I? Okay, I can show it to you in this mirror.
Oh, wait. You know what you can do? You can share screens.
Even then, I'd have to flip the camera around. This mirror is hung up on my wall.
Why do you have to flip your camera around?
No, I mean, I'd have to move this laptop, and it's hardwired in, so I can't really move it. It's not movable. The camera's built in. That would be nice to have.
So why do you have a mirror for?
To show you this. Can you see that?
That map.
That's what I'm gazing over. This is a mirror image. This is a mirror, like I stick my hand in front.
Yeah, I can see it.
So that I don't have to actually physically rotate this computer, but that's a mirror image of the Well,
Yeah.
it's flipping it on my end because it's giving me a mirror image of my feed. I prefer the.
Yeah.
I mean, when you take selfies, sometimes the camera doesn't even bother to flip it over, and you can always tell when people are taking selfies in their car because they're on the passenger side, and if they're on the
Yep.
passenger side when they take it, they look like they're driving, so you can tell if there's no steering wheel in front of them. I mean, it's just being observant, and yeah, I understand if you um,
So
science is.
what does a map have to do with
That's what I'm gazing over. If you look at me, see, that's what I was looking at and thinking about. Uh, 1400s, Gutenberg, Catholic
it?
Church, Roman Empire, Vatican City, smallest country in Europe is Vatican City. It's its
Yeah.
own, um, Lutherans, the Protestant Reformation, 1492, stuff like that. Cristoforo Colombo, which was really his name. I mean, they wouldn't have called him Christopher Columbus
Yeah.
at the time.
A
I
lot of
mean,
people there are a lot of people in our day today that actually believe Christopher Columbus was the first person to discover the Americas, and that's just a load of BS because the Vikings are here far before him.
so in the 4.5 billion years, we've got modern day 20th century history, that's the way, and they always seem to stretch it out as history as time goes by, the decades pass, um, history compresses,
Yeah.
and even more so when a civilization is conquered. I'm just going to tell you, you JFK is quoted as saying, "All history is gossip. All history is gossip." That's what JFK,
Yes.
and that's a quote in a book that I read. I actually read it.
Awesome.
I read occasionally.
It,
Um,
it it is gossip pretty much. It's
um,
the only you know who writes history? The people who win,
the victors.
not the people who lose.
Yeah, there was a joke circulating on the internet, about how many wars
Uh,
has the country of France won, and they were 0 for 5, and you have to realize that the only war you could say they actually won was the French Revolution, which, if you
yeah.
realize, the Civil War was against themselves. So,
Yeah.
but they're one of our strongest allies, and I can see, like, in this map, it's a limited edition, or it's a collector's edition,
Awesome.
because
The French Revolution lasted a long
this this map here puts the Americas in the middle. Most people are familiar with the map, Mercator projection, um, as a
You know, there are still people who believe the Earth is flat.
oh, well, what if it's a combination? What if it's spherical, but something like more or less than that of an unfinished Death Star under construction? If you imagine that, maybe that's where people get the idea of falling off the edge. The Bermuda Triangle.
It's not possible falling off the edge of the Earth.
Oh no! What if it was a sphere? Imagine the Death Star from Star Wars, but
Yeah,
the one that was under construction, that was being built, that was in progress.
yeah.
Okay, it was a sphere, certainly, but they were incomplete. Something like the AT&T logo. It's a sphere. It's a two-dimensional representation of it. What do you see when you see the Xbox logo, for instance?
You see a circle with an X in it, something like that.
I see a sphere
Yeah,
that's exploding with an X in it. That's three-dimensional. You know,
but the whole flat Earth theory, it's just kind of crazy because there's satellite image of the Earth and it's a complete sphere.
Indeed, I
And
live in
and when
Missouri.
yeah, and when you go sailing on the ocean, as you watch ships go, you'll see them sail into the horizon until they're gone. So that proves that the Earth is not flat. Because if the Earth was flat, you'd be able to see them go all the way.
Oh yeah, I'm saying it is a sphere. It's a
Yeah,
spherical. I'm saying it's got to be, um, uh, and being from Missouri, it's the show me state, yes, but I mean it's a closed system for the most
yeah.
part. Um, and
I
so,
mean, there are a lot of flat places on Earth, but the Earth itself is not flat.
um, So I'm going to make this, abbreviate this video and start once more again for a rapid fire segment, a rapid fire portion. And that way we have a short video to watch instead of having to watch the whole thing. Because this is, I don't know how long it is because I don't see the timer. So I'm going to discontinue this call, terminate this broadcast, and stop the stream.
Okay.
And then I'll bring us back and do a rapid fire a few minutes, couple minutes.
Yeah.
2, 3, 4, 5 minutes. 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes, and see how, and then I can actually see how much I've been slurring my speech and dropping syllables, enunciating.
I know I screwed up the date. I screwed up a lot of syllables.
Just a matter of energy, which can neither be created nor destroyed, just transformed. So, anyways, yeah, I'm no scientist though, and apparently I have no right to be a scientist according to politicians, because leave the science to the scientists. Yeah, so okay, let's leave the music to the musicians. You're not allowed to sing unless you attended 4 years of college. How's that? I mean, no, that's ludicrous. But anyways,
ridiculous.
so I'm going to stop it and we'll suspend this broadcast. I'll bring us back for a fresh stream. All right. Well, that's all. Make it a good one. We'll see you next time.